Okay, welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's edition, Paul Demain. Many of the stories and information here can be found at our website at www.indiancountrynews.com, where your online membership helps support the development of this television station. Here are some of the news updates for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. A former official with the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes of Oklahoma has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for embezzling more than $100,000. The sentence for Roy Dean Bull Cumming is more than twice as long as recommended under federal guidelines. Federal Judge Stephen Fryatt handed down the sentence and told Bull Cumming he financed his lifestyle by stealing from the needy. Bull Cumming was also ordered to pay more than $100,000 in restitution. The Menominee tribe's application to build a casino and entertainment center at the Dairyland Greyhound Park in Kenosha, Wisconsin has been rejected by the U.S. Department of the Interior. The tribe said January 7th the rejection means it will pursue vigorously its lawsuit against the department over its policy in deciding whether to grant applications for off-reservation gambling sites. The tribe had filed a motion last November seeking a temporary restraining order to prevent the government from acting on the casino application while the lawsuit was pending. The lawsuit was filed November 6, alleging the government improperly changed the rules for approving off-reservation casino applications, including measuring the commute time from the mother reservation to the proposed casino site. The department denied an earlier Menominee Nation request to suspend the casino application until the Bush administration leaves office. Evan Zeppo said the tribe's legal challenge is aimed at the rules that the Interior Department issued last year that makes it more difficult to win approval for an off-reservation casino the further it is from the homeland reservation. The Menominee Reservation in northwestern Wisconsin is about 200 miles from Kenosha, but it is within the tribe's historic occupation region. The federal government has placed 18 acres of central New York land into tax-exempt trust for the Oneida Nation of New York. The transfer of land from the Air Force to the U.S. Department of Interior bypassed the lengthy, contentious battle that has engulfed the Oneida Nation's request to place more than 17,000 acres of tribally owned land into trust status, where it would be exempt from local and state taxes. Interior officials last year recommended putting more than 13,000 acres of land into trust, a decision that triggered 7 lawsuits still pending in federal court. The 18 acres are part of a 513-acre parcel of land known as the U.S. Air Force Space Command Complex. The site was built in the 1950s as a testing site for the now-defunct Griffith Air Force Base. The site has been mothballed for years. According to the Associated Press, Bighorn County officials are still searching for a 3-month-old and his parents missing from Crow Agency for 2 weeks after they found the family's pickup truck in Fort Smith. The pickup was found recently about 25 miles from Wyola, where the family was last said to be traveling. Authorities are still looking for 30-year-old Teddy Little Light, 25-year-old Juliet Little Light, and their son Wyatt. Kim Satko with the Bighorn County Sheriff's Office said there was no indication at this time of foul play, but investigators from the Sheriff's Office and the Bureau of Indian Affairs continue to examine the site where the truck has been found. The family was last seen on December 23rd at Teddy Little Light's mother's house in Crow Agency. Little Light said the family was going to Wyola. They were reported missing when they did not attend the funeral of Juliet's grandmother on January 3rd. Witnesses last reported seeing Teddy Little Light at a Billings Tavern on New Year's Eve. Federal officials have ruled that stones discovered in the path of a planned runway expansion at Turner Falls Municipal Airport in Montego, Massachusetts, are part of an Indian sacred ceremonial hill. The Recorder of Greenfield reports that the ruling by the National Register means the airport will have to revise its plans. The $5 million expansion plans have been on hold since 2007 while the Federal Aviation Administration awaited a ruling on the stones. The FAA contended they were from a 19th century stone wall. John Brown, Tribic Historic Preservation Officer for the Narragansett tribe, said the ruling confirms what he already knew. Airport manager Michael Sweeney says plans to add 1,000 feet of runway will be redesigned so the stones will not be disturbed. The National Museum of the American Indians Endowment is a bit larger nowadays due to a gift from a renowned Cherokee woman. The great-great-granddaughter of Cherokee Chief John Ross, Mary G. Ross, passed away last April, just months shy of her 100th birthday, leaving a generous bequest to the museum. Ross, who was 5 years old before she rode in a car, went on to accomplish many firsts as a Cherokee and as a Native woman. In the 1930s, she pursued a master's degree in mathematics at the University of Colorado. In 1942, while in California, Ross became one of many women hired by the Lockheed Corporation due to the shortage of men fighting in World War II, and later became one of 40 engineers and the only woman and only Cherokee to join in what would later become part of Lockheed Missiles and Space Company. She also left gifts to the American Indian Science and Engineering Society and the Society of Women Engineers. Students at the Bay Mills Community College at Brimley, Michigan now have a tutoring center newly installed in the administrative center with peer and student mentors and a writing lab with computers with a coordinator to assist students in improving their grades. The college, run by the Bay Mill Ojibwe community, had just finished up with a successful accreditation process when they decided they wanted to improve on their student retention rates. National studies showed that less than half of first-year freshmen continued into their second year. A college study there at Bay Mills showed that over 60% of new students at BMCC were unprepared for college classes. The majority of students who enter BMCC intend to work on their associate's degrees and move on to other institutions of higher education. The mayor of West Siloam Springs says Cherokee Nation Enterprises is paying to keep an ambulance service running in that northeastern Oklahoma town. Mayor Elaine Carr says the tribe's gaming operation in the Cherokee Casino will pay over $16,000 a month to keep ambulances from Siloam Springs, Arkansas, serving the town in southern Delaware County. The contract was signed December 31st, just hours before a prior contract would have expired and prohibited the ambulance from crossing the state line into Oklahoma. Carr says a 1-cent sales tax proposal will be voted on in April, and if passed, it should generate about $75,000 a year for emergency services to the region. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank our underwriters for helping us broadcast this edition and our digital mall partners, powwows.com and nativeview.com, broadcasting from Helena, Montana. Thanks for joining us today.